Hi, it's Dr. Maya. I am so excited to be back with you and to dive back into these conversations that we've been having. Hopefully, you've been following me on Instagram and YouTube. You've seen some of the work that I've done. You've followed, you've been inspired and encouraged. If you are just connecting with me, I am ecstatic about that. I do want you to go back. You can follow the link in my bio on Instagram and get caught up on some of the previous talks and videos that I've shared over the course of the last several months. I guarantee you two things. Number one, if you are connecting with me, you are a person of vision and destiny. And number two, that I am going to be here to journey along with you because it is a journey. And that's the one thing that I think we don't hear enough about. We know we are here, we want to get there. There is so much in between here and there. And that's where I come in along this journey with you. So please, please, please go back, get caught up, watch some of the other videos. They are not there just to take up space in the realm of social media. They are there to be a real, genuine help, blessing, almost like a tutorial for you as you are trying to navigate some of the various challenges, expected and not, as you're moving from now to your next. That I am board certified OBGYN. I am an author. I'm a certified life coach. I'm a singer songwriter. I'll be putting out more material, so please tap into that as that becomes available. I'm a mother trying to navigate this tween movement. So much going on in my life, okay? As I know is true with you. Everything that I do, everything that I say in this space, and everything I touch, whether it's a talk, a lecture, a book that I'm writing, a quote that I'm putting together, a song that I'm writing, the very DNA of that, if you've watched previous talks I've done, you know that I talk about what we produce in this world literally carries our DNA because we are uniquely created beings. And that which we produce, likewise, is a unique stamp that literally represents a part of your creative and purposeful DNA. Everything I do, say, and touch in this space as I connect with you, the mark of that, the purpose is to help navigate you and me, our course as we are moving about and trying to get to this next stop. I want you to take these talks, including the one that we're going to have today, these conversations, and I want you to go back. I want you to tap into them when you have a minute in your time. I want you to review the concepts because everything that I put out is really designed to be a practical help, a guide, a tutorial, an assistance, a reminder, an encouragement, some nugget that you can literally apply in your life today. One thing that I wanted to mention, just to kind of bring everybody on the same page as we are navigating these spaces, is that my next, your next, his next, her next, their next, it's not the same next, right? So they can be very sort of linear things, if you will, right? My next is graduation. My next is getting this next job. My next is marriage, moving from engagement to marriage. Um, my next is moving into the political arena, right? Or your next can be greater. My next is to move from the career space that I'm in now into something totally different, but that I feel pulled and called to. My next is moving from doing the day to day practical and navigating into the larger creative space. But I don't know exactly how to navigate that. I'm an A plus B equals C person. I'm moving into the creative space, which is not always very well defined, right? So all of our next is different, but all of our next is important. And it's our next is connected to who we are, who we were created really to be, right? The next may not be the same, but let me assure you, many of the challenges of transition are. They just come in different forms. One thing that we're going to talk about today is navigating tight spaces. Two things are very important. You and I, we are doing all of this, right? Not because of randomness. We're doing this because we know, we feel, we still believe, no matter what we're dealing with, that we are created not to just survive, right? But to thrive. We also believe that somewhere inside, I know it's true for you. I don't care how down you feel right now. You know that you are created and designed to have real and lasting impact on this earth. That knowledge, that urgency, that foundation, these are all the things that we're going to carry into this talk, because let me tell you, as we are moving with this knowledge, we are going to have to navigate some tight spaces. One of the talks that I did just previous to this is called Sharper Image, or Sharpen Your Image. And you really want to go back and harvest some of the nuggets out of this talk. Some of those nuggets of truth were just so key. We talked about sharpening your focus. Right? We talked about sharpening your tools. We talked about sharpening your edges, keeping your boundaries clear. I don't hear a lot of people talking about how to navigate the tight spaces. So I'm going to just dive right into that, explain it better, what I mean by navigating tight spaces, where that fits into our journey, and what to do about it. Okay, so number one, what are we talking about navigating tight spaces? What I'm talking about is pressure. So let's talk about the opposite. Wide open spaces. What does that make you think of? Oh, freedom. I can breathe. It's beautiful. Maybe there's birds chirping. Maybe you're out in a wide field, a prairie somewhere. I don't know, off on a farm. I don't know, whatever images come into your mind. Wide open spaces conjure images of rest and awe and beauty, space, breathing, right? And really connecting with that space. What is the opposite of that? A tight, suffocating space. One where you feel like you literally cannot breathe. You feel like no matter where you turn, there is something coming right at you, whether it's a challenge, a problem that you have to face and solve, whether something unexpected has popped up into your life. Maybe it's a person, a place, a thing, a project, a task, an obstacle, something you perceive as an obstacle. Tight spaces conjure up something totally different than those wide open spaces. We think about despair, right? We think about frustration. We think about, oh my goodness, crisis. We think about trauma, that pressure that's being applied. And yet, by the end of this talk, I'm going to show you how to turn that pressure from an enemy into your friend, as we are moving, and a very necessary friend, as we are moving into our next. So, navigating tight spaces on this journey. Let me tell you, these tight spaces are to come, but they are here for a reason. The first thing that I want us to talk about and think about is that we want to feel the pressure. We're going to feel it. I want you to be able to feel the pressure without fearing the pressure. That to me is so key when it comes to navigating these tight spaces. When we think about our destiny and the dreams and the things, the secret things, we don't even tell people necessarily, right? Not just yet. We're not ready to talk about it, but we know it's something big. It's massive. This is how I'm going to have influence. This is how I'm going to have impact. This is how I'm going to be a life changer. This is how my own life will change, right? We're thinking about the excitement of the wonder of it. But there's something that we have to navigate first, and that's the pressure and the tight crunch of those tight spaces. But they're not for us to fear. We actually need to use them to our advantage. Let me explain. So, what are some, first of all, examples of the pressure that I am talking about that you may be feeling, that I know I have felt? Let's just bring it home and make it practical. Financial pressure. We could talk all day, right? We could talk all the way off the air to talk about financial pressure in this day and age, in this economy particularly, but to be honest with you, regardless of the economy, whether thriving or not, we often face some degree of financial pressure, right? As we're moving into this next season. Why? Because it's going to take a fair degree of investment and sacrifice. That's just a part of it. You can ask any successful person, they're going to tell you that. And I guarantee you, no matter how wealthy they are, they recall those days when they experienced financial pressure. It's built into the system. We can't be surprised or shocked or put off by that. It's part of it. So there's financial pressure. I'm going to bring some things that you may not have thought about. Exhaustion is a form of pressure. How does that make sense? Simply because if I am exhausted, if I'm fatigued, just navigating today, where am I going to get the energy to keep moving forward and to push into that next? So the very exhaustion becomes a form of pressure applied as I am trying to navigate these tight spaces to get to my next destiny. Okay, my next destination. Loneliness can be a form of pressure. And I don't necessarily mean loneliness the way we think about it. Like, oh, I don't have anyone in my life to turn to, family, friends, social media, contacts, networking. No, no, no. What I'm talking about is the feeling, the idea, the concept that what you are facing, no one that you know can truly empathize or understand the degree to which you are feeling that pressure applied. And I understand what that's like. And that in and of itself can be an added pressure to feel like you not only have to navigate the tight space, but you've got to do it all alone. And you've got to do it without a roadmap. That's why I'm here. Okay, we're going to lift that one for sure. Relationships can be a form of pressure, right? Whether it's the pressure of expectations from a current relationship, right? Or a dissolving relationship. I'm one who's been through divorce. I understand that. Or perhaps a relationship you ought not be in, you need to disconnect from. All of these things are pressure and particularly seem to arise very suspiciously when we need to make some big moves and we're navigating to get to that next, yours, mine, whatever that is, whatever it looks like. This is when these things tend to pop up. And I know you look around and say, what in the world is going on with my life? 3 weeks ago, I had everything in the bag. What's happening? No, this is intentional. It's a very important part of this journey. I can tell you, I know what it means to navigate tight spaces. Okay. And I know that pressure. I will tell you just a short example, just navigating medical school, navigating residency, almost everything on the list that I mentioned, right? The financial pressure, the exhaustion being pressure, the feeling of loneliness being pressure, relationships being pressure. I have experienced it. I've been through it. I know what I'm talking about. And I know that if you are tapped into this talk and you just can't seem to turn it off because you understand what I'm talking about, you need to hear this. But let me tell you about pressure. The pressure that's being applied and why I say feel the pressure. So believe me, I'm gonna invite you to welcome that pressure, but don't fear the pressure, is because it is designed not to take you out. Hear me good. It is not designed to kill your dream. It is not designed to kill your destiny. It is designed to pull out two things: the worst of you and the best of you. What do I mean by that? That pressure is strategically designed to pull out any contaminant that might disrupt the very thing you were created to do or produce. Okay? You are next. It is also designed to pull out the very best of you. Your ability to withstand, your commitment, right? Your fortitude, your strength, your stamina, your focus. All of these things are going to come together and be such a huge part of the success of your next. But we're not going to just willingly submit to this level of surgery. If you are, I question your sanity. Okay. No, that is why these seasons come about. Because you are a person of purpose. You are a person of destiny. This is not the time to stop or quit. We don't fear this pressure. Going forward, I don't want you to fear this pressure. I want you to remember that it has come to pull out the worst of you. Let's get rid of some of those suboptimal qualities that we've carried on this journey to this point, right? And so we don't contaminate the next. But the very best of you, I guarantee you, you are going to be shocked and surprised at the person you are on the other side of these tight spaces you're squeezing through trying to navigate if you stay committed. Okay. And that is why I'm here to make sure you do that. I know that can be very hard to hear when you feel short of breath and you are on your knees, but I guarantee if you listen to what I'm saying, because I know what I'm talking about, you are going to be so rewarded. Not only that, you are going to see these things come to pass that you have held, I know, so deep in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. It's going to happen. But you got to stay committed. You got to allow the pressure to do the work that it has been designed to do. Okay, I could stay on that forever. Obviously, we got to go to the next point. Number two, this is one I've been thinking about all week. um, you have to focus your fight. All right. So, number one, we said, feel the pressure, don't fear the pressure. Number two, you've got to focus your fight. And this kind of ties back into that last talk we did on Sharper Image, where we know that there are going to be obstacles, in our path. We know there are some things that are going to be there that, potentially could trip us up. But we have to be able to focus our fight. What do I mean by that? There are three things I wanted to pull out for you that I know you're going to understand and that you're going to connect with, and that are going to help you, just as they've helped me. Number one, I want you to focus your faith. Let me tell you, the very first thing to go when you are navigating these tight spaces and you just don't really know, you've lost your bearings. It's like you've lost your compass. Am I going north, south, east, west? What am I even doing? What has happened? Where am I going? Where am I trying to get to? Why is all this happening? The first thing to go is your faith. I am telling you, it's the first thing called to the carpet. It is the first thing that is going to be challenged, and that is your faith. What I can tell you about is that when you are in dealing with these battles, and a lot of them we know, right, are going on. These aren't things that we're just necessarily even articulating, right? We're not even talking about it sometimes. Most of these battles are happening inside. They're internally. They're 2 o'clock in the morning when no one's around. The thing I want you to do when you feel that faith slipping, remember who you are. It is almost too simple. But I know it's not simple. It is a serious challenge. When you are in the midst of navigating these tight spaces, do you know how much I understand that your very identity is called into question? It's like you don't even remember how you got here and why. Why? Because of the pressure. You're so almost short of breath, dyspneic, we would say, in medical terms. You're so short of breath. You're so bogged down by frustration and trials. You can literally forget your identity. That is directly connected and tied into your faith. That's the source of who you are. I want you to focus that fight for your faith in these tight spaces and remember who you are. I'm talking about if you have to write that down, if you have to put that in your phone, in your iPad, you need to have a statement to remind yourself sometimes that you can look at and remember who you are. If you do not do that, you are vulnerable potentially to losing your bearings when you are off and you're dealing with so many different things that are coming at you. Okay, so I want you to focus your fight. Focus on your faith, number one, and remember who you are. Number two, I want you to remember to fight for your future. Once you have remembered who you are, and I'm talking about you have reminded yourself in the morning, noon, and night your real identity, right? Because it's easy to start to define yourself by what you're going through. That is a lie. Don't fall into the trap. Remember who you are. Remember your identity. But I also want you to focus on your future, who you are now, yes, who you are becoming. That is the reason you're going through all of this. And that is the reason you're being fought so hard because of the vital impact you were created to have. You were created to make in this earth. No one can do what you can do. No one has your DNA. No one can make the lasting impact on this earth in the way you can, great or small. And I need you to remember that. I need you to focus on your future. So you fight for your faith and your identity. You fight for your future. You fight for that vision that you hold right in your very soul, because that's what you were created to produce, to create, to do. I don't care what arena. I don't care if it's medicine, science, technology, dance. I don't care if you're in the realm of writing and acting. I don't care if you're in politics. I don't care if you're a teacher. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home parent. You are designed and created to have massive impact and lasting impact on this earth. And I need you to focus on your future, not on all the superfluous things that are going on around that are designed, right, to be tools, sometimes of distraction. Okay. All right. Number 3. Oh my goodness. This one. I want you to only fight the battles that are connected to your destiny. What do I mean by that? I guarantee you, as you are trying to navigate these tight spaces, which by the way, you weren't anticipating because you almost thought you saw the promised land. It was just within your grasp. And now you find yourself contained in this squeezing labyrinth, right? Of challenges, pressure, perhaps opposition. I guarantee you that what comes along, other battles. And you're going, is this something that I'm supposed to engage in? Everything that comes your way and that might draw your energy, that might draw your attention, that might draw your passion, your creativity. I want you in this season to make sure that you ask yourself, and I'm talking about being extremely intentional. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm telling you, this is going to pay off for you. This is going to pay off massive dividends for you in the future. I want you to literally ask yourself, is this connected to my destiny? Is this connected to my purpose? Is this connected to who I am and what I really believe I'm designed to create, produce, and do? The answer is no. Very graciously, I need you to bow out of that battle. This is so critical, right? This time of navigating these tight spaces, because these spaces are so tight. Why? Because you're almost there. But if you allow your energy to be outsourced towards battles that are not at all connected to who you are and who you are created to be, that can be dangerous, I think, in fact, for lack of a softer word, to your arrival, to your destiny. I don't want you sidetracked. I don't want you distracted. And I certainly don't want you disrupted. I want you to do this and have success. Okay, well, let me give you just like a kind of a funny, maybe lighter example that you can use going forward to probably some bigger things, right? That you might encounter on this journey. When I talk about how do we focus our energy on these battles and how do I determine which battles to fight, which not to engage in? Okay, here's a funny example I thought of. All right, so I'm navigating this tween space, right? I have a young daughter. All right, so in her age group, there tends to be a little bit of, let's say, disruption in our alliances and our friendships on the playground, right? As a helicopter parent, I fully admit, I am ready to get involved. Okay? If I feel like my daughter is coming home and she's experiencing a challenging person, I'm ready. The old me was ready to engage in battle. I don't care what the problem was. Okay, you grow, you evolve, you understand it, particularly when you're navigating tight spaces. Your energy is precious, and most of it needs to be going towards what is, if not all of it in this season, needs to be going towards where you are headed, right? It can't be flowing in all different directions. I've learned to ask myself, how serious is this disruption, this concern, right? How serious is it really? Because most of the time in her little cohort, her age group, which I know is very important to her in this time, and give it 2 days' time, everything has smoothed itself over. Everyone's best friends again. We're all happy. Meanwhile, I'm left out here in full battle gear, upset, right, with what's happening. I've spent energy on that. Okay, this is what I've learned. I've learned to calm down. Let my daughter express her feelings, give her some helpful advice that she can take, and start the clock, because in 48 hours, everything's going to be just fine. That's different, right? Now, I haven't spent a ton of energy, but I have used my energy towards a destiny I'm connected to, my daughter. her happiness, her well-being, her ability to thrive, at school and at home. Here's something different. If she comes to me and tells me about something that might threaten her safety, maybe there's a bully, there's another situation. Oh no, it's time to gear up. it's time to go to battle. Why? Because she is connected to me. What impacts her impacts me. She is a part of my destiny. She's a part of my call. And that if there's a real battle going on, that is energy worth spending, well worth, on her behalf, as her protector, as her guide, as her nurturer. Okay, so that's just kind of a funny, bare bones, maybe practical example, but I know you can think of some things that are happening probably on a much larger scale, right? But I want you to remember that. And there are ways to discern which battles do I need to engage in, because it is so critical right now. Your battery power must be protected. We don't necessarily have chargers along the way as we're navigating these tight spaces. I need you to conserve your energy. I need you to fight those battles that are directly connected to you, to your destiny, to your next. That's just right now. I just need you to be wise and prudent. Hear me, what I'm not saying. I'm not telling you to be selfish and self centered. In fact, I want you to stay open for two reasons. Because number one, a very worthy cause may come your way while you're in the midst of navigating your own tight space. You can barely breathe. A worthy cause might come your way. And investing in that person, maybe a friend in need, maybe a cause, that's seed in the ground, right? That will later produce a harvest for you in your next. Number two, if you stay open and don't become so self-absorbed, so self-focused and self-centered, you're open to receive, right? Because I'm going to tell you something about these tight spaces. If you're a person who, I don't want to use words like pride, but if you're a person who prides yourself in your independence, right? You're a go-getter, you can do this. This season is going to teach you about the importance of collaboration, network, help, and assistance, support. I guarantee you're not getting to your next without those components. So I do want you to stay open so that you are able to receive, right, the help, support that you need, but also so that you can invest in a worthy cause, a worthy battle, so to speak, because that's going to be seed in the ground. That's going to produce harvest for you in your next season. All right. So you can tell I couldn't wait for that part. Okay. So we talked about, I want you to feel the pressure as we navigate these tight spaces on our journey. Don't fear it. Don't fear it. Remember what it's there to produce. It's there to pull out the worst and best of you. I want you to focus your fight. You gotta deal with your faith. You gotta keep that. That's your foundation. Don't let that be taken from you. You got to focus on that future. You got to focus your energy on the right battles. There are plenty of battles to fight in this earth. We know that. Turn on your news. There's so many battles we can engage in. This is not the season to be engaged in every single battle out there. We need to focus our energy and our strength on those battles that are more particular, more specific to where we are headed. Why? Because when we get to our next, we're going to have the space and the energy that we need. We can now engage and do almost essentially what we want, right? At least for a time, we'll be an available resource for others to tap into. Right now, we've got to conserve that energy. The most important of all the three, when you are navigating these tight spaces, feeling that pressure, I know what that's like. One thing you got to do, keep moving forward. You have to make up in your mind, no matter what comes my way, no matter how much despair I might feel, no matter how alone I might feel in this fight, you're going, what happened? You have to make up in your mind, I am going to keep moving forward. Sometimes I tell you that has to start in your mind. You may not even be taking physical steps to move forward, but you have to start in your mind. Once you make up your mind, you know what? I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm not going to let this season, navigating these tight spaces, I'm not going to let it make me stop. And I'm certainly not going to allow it to make me turn around. Because let me tell you, you will be tempted. The greater your destiny, the larger impact that you're called to have on this earth, I believe the tighter the pressure applied. Okay. And you are going to be so tempted to turn around. This is too much. How did this happen? Where did this come from? You cannot stop. You cannot quit. In fact, I want you to say with me right now, I will keep moving forward. I want you to say that again with me. I will keep moving forward. If I have to take little tiny steps, if I have to shuffle, if I have to crawl on my hands and knees, if I've got to torque my body to get around these tight curves and spaces, I will keep moving forward. Um, when you keep this mantra, if you will, going in your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, it's like you're your own cheerleader. Um, in times where so many voices are echoing, right? Bouncing off the walls of these tight spaces, not all positive voices. And I want you to answer back no matter what. I don't care how many times the bill collectors call. I don't care what's happening in your relationship. I don't care what's happening on the job. I don't care the other obstacles and challenges you're facing. You keep telling yourself, I will keep moving forward. I will not stop. I will not retreat. I am getting to my next. Okay? I guarantee you, if you apply these steps, and I'm telling you, this is not happening over the course of a weekend. Oh no. This is happening over a period of days and weeks and months, dare I say it, years. If you apply practical tools like this, I guarantee you, you will get to your next. Better than that, you're going to show up the best version of yourself. All right. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. This was a long one, but it was a critical one. Okay. Until next time, Dr. Maya. Bye.